Good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Reverend Theresa Fieberts, and I am so happy that you're here with me this morning. This is our 14th week of love streaming, 14 weeks of safely connecting and continuing to build community, and that's what we're about. And so, welcome to my living room. I got a little different seat this morning, but we're working for the sound and the video to be the best quality that we can for you. And so, thank you for inviting me into your home too. I'm real happy about that. And if you would please share this link, share it with your friends. Um, this is an opportunity for us being online. It's an opportunity for us to touch hearts and minds all over the world and to reach thousands of people, more than what we could do when we're meeting in a room together. And I know that this is a time that feels lonely for a lot of people and that feels scary for a lot of people. And so I believe that our message, and particularly my message this morning, helps ease that and gives us a reason for hope. Um, Science of mind is a way of life. It's a way of life that offers us practical applications for universal spiritual principles. The principles themselves are about the unchanging presence that is within us and all around us in the world, and it's the world of change. So, for us to be able to hold on to these unchanging principles in the swirl of change is a beautiful thing for us to be able to do. It's very comforting. It's very comforting to me, and that I want to share that with everyone that I can. There's one source and substance of all life showing itself in all life, and we can learn tools and techniques for awakening to that truth and being in alignment with that truth and using that truth, that creative intelligence, to uplift ourselves in the environment which we find ourselves in, not only through our mind or intentionally with our thoughts or in our thoughts, but in our experience itself, in the conditions. We have the power to do that. And that's really the one great awakening for humanity, I believe. It's the one great awakening for all of us. The realization that there's a creative power in us that we can use. And it's the same power that raises the sun and the moon and keeps the planets in orbit. It's the same power and intention which brought you from the unformed substance into form, into this life, now for a reason. It's the same creative intelligence. And so all month long, we are talking about being mindful mavericks. Mindful mavericks. I love that term. We can learn to be mindful and bold. And I believe that the world really needs us to awaken to that concept and that action this day. This morning, I'm going to particularly be talking about the power of our intentions. And I'm going to utilize some work of Wayne Dyer's from his book, The Power of Intention, where he says, intention is a field of energy that flows invisibly beyond the reach of our normal, everyday, habitual patterns. Beyond the habitual patterns. So let's suspend those for the next hour. Okay? Go there right now in consciousness with me. Let's set the tone for us this morning, for our interaction, for our time together, recognizing this power for good in the universe, this power and presence, this unconditional love, this creative intelligence, this peace that passes all understanding. It is here now. And I affirm for each one of us what our hearts are calling for in our own lives and in the world, that we hear something this morning, we feel something this morning, something is revealed from within us that moves us to a greater understanding of that reality being within reach. It's within our breath. So let us know that together this morning, setting our intention. And let's include in that intention the beauty of technology that keeps us connected, keeps our vibration strong and steady. And so it is. So I have a beautiful guest musician with us this morning. I'm so happy to bring her back. It's our local singer-songwriter, Emily Ross. And I'm always delighted when Emily gets to be with us. So here she is. Please enjoy Emily Ross.
Good morning. Hello, Techno World. Happy Sunday. And so when I think about, whenever I think about how I want the world to be, I try to think about it rather than focus on the things that I don't want. So one of the songs that I wrote a couple years ago, this one's called Company of Love, and it's about my vision that I see for the world as the whole world being one big company of love. Because wouldn't that be so easy? It would just be better if everyone just loved each other. So here it is. Living my life only thinking people I see are for a reason. Why would I need to change my mind? Find people that give you freedom, give them time and words of feeling. How could I live without mankind? I've got a company of love. I see a company of love. You make your markings on all the lives you're touching. You create the world you've known. So come with your brothers, love all your mothers, feel what the world has in mind. We got a company of love. to give. I want to give my love for all people. Oh, live my life only dreaming of a world as it has been. Why can't we all just live beside? Find people that give you freedom, give them time and words of feeling. How can I live without mankind? I've got a company of love. I see a company of love.
Whoa, thank you, Emily. Thank you very much. Company of Love. This reading is an official statement from the Centers for Spiritual Living. Racism in the United States. Centers for Spiritual Living calls for it to end. We are grieving lives that ought not to have been lost. George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery are the most recent in a list of countless unarmed African American and black people who have been murdered for the color of their skin over the past 400 years in the U.S. Too many generations have suffered, and it has never been, and it is not now, acceptable. We denounce racism in all its forms, the starkness of unapologetic, intentional racism, the racism of silence in the face of injustice, the systemic racism inherent in our education, justice, income, and opportunity inequity, and the racism that lies hidden in our individual hearts and minds. We envision a world where personal responsibility joins with social conscience in every area of the political, corporate, academic, and social sectors. We value a community-wide climate of safety that arises from compassion, justice, mutual respect, and kindness. Therefore, we join our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who, echoing the words of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., said, "You and I should form the habit of taking definite time each day to contemplate and affirm peace with justice. For there is no peace possible without justice. But faith without works is dead. We should not only pray, we should act, each contributing the best they have to the common purpose, each willing to make any sacrifice necessary, for there can be no individual self-preservation without the preservation of all. We call upon ourselves and the faith communities in the U.S. to take action that shows we have heard the cry of suffering, and we own our responsibility for it, whether that action is prayer, donations to organizations that promote racial justice, rigorous self-education, or active engagement. Let not this moment in history pass unattended. May the actions we take be steeped in peace and respect for the sacredness of each life, knowing that whatever we do individually and collectively must be divinely directed from a higher consciousness. When we apply our proven spiritual principles through rigorous practices and compassionate action, the desired results cannot fail to demonstrate. Now another song from Emily.
All right. So, one of the positive actions that we can take is saying goodbye to some of our thoughts that no longer serve us. For instance, maybe you have a fear-based thought based off of a prejudice that you might have. And a prejudice is just a prejudgment that you can have about anything that you see based on maybe something else that has nothing to do with any real evidence. It's not truthful. It's just a prejudice, a prejudgment that you're having. So maybe saying goodbye to those is an action you can take today. And so I have a song. This one is a goodbye song that I wrote for a friend that was no longer serving me, but I was thinking that I could use this song um, as if like saying goodbye to the thoughts that no longer serve me. I was trying to come up with, I like to tie in my songs with the theme and everything. So this one's called The Letter. I'm a slave to this current, it goes rushing into me, and I cannot stop the steps that are circling. I'm the dime you've been saving, I'm the misguided excuse, hoping one day for some change, I'll be of better use to you. One more time I'll write it down to say goodbye. 'Cause if these cycles multiply to a waste of time, then why are we still standing in the cages we create, on the pedestal engraved, entitled friends who have it made? And with time it gets harder, 'cause I've seen so much of you, all the phases we've been through. We're two people we once knew. One more time I'll write it down to say goodbye. 'Cause we can't seem to stop these waves that multiply. So take these words I'm writing, 'cause you refuse to see the way you've treated me. 'Cause if you're standing by me, then we'll never stop the spin, and the current will begin. Oh, oh, oh. Never stop the spin, and the current will begin. Oh, oh, oh. Never stop the spin, and the current will begin. La, 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 la. One more time I'll write it down to say goodbye. 'Cause we can't seem to stop these waves that multiply.
Oh my goodness. Thank you, Emily. Always the brilliance of your love, the brilliance of your love just flows through all your music. I'm just so happy to have you with us this morning. Um, as I said, we are talking about mindfulness for Mavericks all month long, and specifically this morning, the power of our intentions. And I want to make 3 points. The first one being that creative universe, we are living in a creative universe. We're swimming in it. We're filled with consciousness. You know, I have a master's degree in consciousness. Can't really tell you where it is or exactly what it is, but it's that creative intelligence of the universe. And it's everywhere. I can tell you where it's not, nowhere. It's everywhere. It's everywhere present. It's the mind, the one mind that each of us has individual use of. Okay? So there's the first point. We're swimming in a soup of consciousness. that we're all utilizing, right? And so, secondly, we create through this consciousness, through this one mind. It's our individual use of the one mind that we're creating through and with, and we either create by default or by choice. Okay? So default can be our habitual thinking, like Emily was just talking about, or it can be our collective beliefs. And we're going to talk about that in a minute. And then third, the main point that I want to make is there is such power in our intentions and being in intention. And I'm utilizing a good bit of what I'm talking about this morning from Wayne Dyer's Power of Intention, and then also David Hawkins, Dr. David Hawkins, Power versus Force. And he has tons of other books on this same subject, The Eye of the Eye and whatnot. But also, I've been inspired this week by Michael Bernard Beckwith and of course always and forever by the inspiration of Dr. Ernest Holmes. And he was the founder and the synthesizer of religions and spirituality and science, and brought us the science of mind. So Wayne Dyer said that, and I'm paraphrasing, that intention is something that we feel, something that we connect with, something that we know and trust. So we can lean into that. It's us having an awareness, an inner awareness. And while we might explicitly feel this, we might have a visceral feeling of this power. It's hard to describe. It's hard for us to describe it in words, but this power of intention is the creative faculty of the universe, and we can activate it and use it in our own daily lives. That's the brilliance of it. Now, there's one resource that you and I have, that we all have, and it's above all other resources, and that's the mind. The mind. And now, more than ever in my lifetime, in our lifetime, is the time to utilize that, is the time for us to wake up and recognize that, because there's an incredible shift going on in consciousness. I hope you feel that. Michael Beckwith called it an apocalypse. He said that we are seeing the end of one world and the beginning of another. Right here, right now, we're living in the paradigm shift. Can you feel it? We are living in the paradigm shift. And so what we think, what we believe, what we intend to have come out of this shift matters. It matters. It's so important for us. So the science of mind offers us a hypothesis. Try this for yourself, prove this for yourself. And we call that proof the demonstration or the manifestation. That is the completion of the setting in motion our intention, our desire, what we want to see come from the invisible substance of life into form, right? And that's done through the law of mind. You can call it cause and effect, law of attraction. When something comes from the invisible form into form by means of our thoughts, all demonstrations begin with thought. All demonstrations begin in the mind. And that's the power of intention. And it's a demonstration of faith, isn't it? It requires that we have faith in this invisible substance and power of life. So, thoughts become things. And Ernest Holmes told us that focused thought is more powerful than unfocused thought. I know that to be true in my own life. So, mindful intentions create. Yes? Have you all created something in your life by setting a goal, by setting an intention and nurturing that intention? Well, so do habitual, fear based, limited, judgmental thinking. That's creative too. Ernest Holmes, in Living the Science of Mind, said that man's thought is creative because his thought is God power. It's God power. It's God powered and it's flowing through our individual use of mind out into the world, out into the world. So, isn't it incumbent upon us to pay attention, to become hyper vigilant, right? Otherwise, we're creating from default. So, what is default? Those habitual thoughts, unchecked ideas, unchecked belief systems, false beliefs, patterns of negativity. And we also can create from the collective thought. And those can be racist, hateful thoughts, garbage in, garbage out, garbage in, garbage out. That really is the container of the subconscious. Whereas vibrations of love, of expansion, of possibility thinking quells hatred, fear, limitations of all kinds. So Ernest Holmes reminds us that the normal functions of life are harmonious, but we interfere with these by our ignorance and thus bring discord into temporary being. And that's a beautiful thing for us to recognize. Conditions are temporary, and we have choice in this. We're empowered by taking choice. Choice to raise our thoughts to spiritual truths, to principles that are unchanging. Wayne Dyer, in The Power of Intention, said that intention is a field of energy that flows invisibly, a field of energy that flows invisibly beyond the reach of our normal, everyday, habitual patterns. So we have to go there, right? We have to go beyond those habitual patterns. And how do we do that? Practice, my friends. Practice, 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 practice. That's how we do it. We practice taking our fears to faith. We practice by transforming negative thoughts to positive thoughts. We practice by seeing opportunity for real change in the distressing news. We practice by seeing opportunity to create a greater reality, a greater yet to be for ourselves and for others. Yeah, we move beyond habitual patterns by visualizing the completion or the demonstration of our intentions. We do it by belief, by trust, by moving forward as if it's already done. Again, Wayne Dyer said that we can't discover the law of co creation if we are contemplating what's missing. We can't discover the law of co creation when we're looking at what seems to be broken, wrong. It requires a shift in our perspective, in our consciousness. And I know that we're fatigued right now. Are you feeling fatigued? I'm feeling fatigued some days. We've been cooped up inside for months in isolation. We've had the TV blaring, sensationalizing violence and hatred and bringing that into our homes. Yeah, we're tired. We're fatigued. But we must be aware of how we're feeling. We must check in with, am I feeling good? Am I feeling bad? And why would that be so? Last week, I talked about letting our breath be our barometer. If you missed last week or you want to go back and check that out and find mindfulness exercises for you to practice. Julie Birch provided a beautiful one for us last week. But look, we're mindful mavericks. We can step into the role of being mindful mavericks. We can be fixated on our bold claims about life, right? Be people that are blazing new trails that are clearing new paths that are seeing opportunity for greater reality. And Ernest Holmes told us that we demonstrate from the tendency of our thoughts, the tendency of our thoughts. So we want to monitor our thoughts. I challenge you this week to monitor your thoughts. Listen to that inner dialogue. Look for the underlying intention and remember that you're creating from that. This clarity and focus that we can hone within ourselves, that we can skillfully train ourselves to do, that alerts us to the tendency of our thoughts, what we're demonstrating. And then we can have conscious choice. And then we can demonstrate from our highest possibilities, not from fear, not from anger or weariness. And I think most of us would agree that this is the time to ante up. This is the time for us to rise to the occasion. Yes? Michael Beckwith said for us to try on the frequency of high choice, to be in that frequency of high choice, to recognize that. And we have the tools. We absolutely have the tools. Right here, right now, you have the tools because your mind is the most powerful instrument that you possess. Your mind is the most powerful instrument in the universe. Yeah. And so we need to use it wisely. We need to use it wisely. See, without intention, without clear intention, we're at the mercy of the media, the hysteria, the fear. And all those speak to the impermanent conditions. We want to raise our sights, we want to raise our intentions, our minds, and our hearts to spiritual truth, to those things that do not change, that are constant. Dr. David Hawkins, in The Power versus Force and many of his other books, The Eye of the I, he's putting together 29 plus years of research that proves the power that rises up and out of us is transformative in one way or another. That energy is transformative, not just for ourselves, but for all of humanity. And this is what's really important for us to hear this morning and recognize. Maybe many of you know of his work, his brilliant work. And what he did was he took individuals and group energy and saw that it can be calibrated, it can be measured, and the findings are astonishing. The findings are astonishing. People that vibrate at a low energy, energies of anger, fear, guilt, apathy, hatred, judgment, shame, the work that Brene Brown so beautifully does, those people that are vibrating at those levels cannot distinguish truth from falsehood. This is an important thing for us to recognize. So Wayne Dyer, in talking about Hawkins' findings, wrote this about people at that vibration level, that they can be told how to think, whom to hate, whom to kill. They can be herded into group think mentality based on such trivial details as what side of the river they were born on, what their parents and their grandparents believed, the shape of their eyes, and hundreds other factors to do with appearance and total identification with their material world. Is that frightening? It is. It is. But there's more. So Hawkins said that 87% of humanity calibrates at that collective energy at a level that's low or what he calls a weakened state, at that weakened state. But remember, I said that all of us can and do influence the whole. We can have an effect on the whole. Well, that's the good news. And here it is. He found that higher states of vibration have a stronger, more powerful impact than the weakened states. And this is the work of mindful mavericks. This is our work to do. This is who we want to be. I'm speaking for you. This is who I want to be. And I hope this is who you want to be. Let's do this together. We must be resonating ourselves with unconditional love, kindness, beauty, appreciation, acceptance. Say yes to life. Instead of resisting what is, look for what can I do? What can I see here? What can I perceive that lifts my perspective of this story, of this newscast, whatever it is? Seeing the opportunity, not the distress and the despair, because it's there because God is present. Yes? So, this is critical at this time. It's critical at this paradigm shift that we are now in, that each of us become aware of the importance of raising our thoughts, our own frequencies, our intentions. Remember, Michael Beck was saying the frequency of choice. We are in the frequency of choice now that we know about it. There's no looking back. Yeah? So, we want to bring and keep our intentions at a level of spiritual awareness. I want to read this because this was just so powerful that I don't want to miss any any word here. Oh, closed the spot in my book. All right. This is from David Hawkins' research. He said one individual who lives and vibrates to the energy of optimism and a willingness to be non-judgmental of others will counterbalance the negativity of 90,000 individuals who calibrate at a lesser or a weakened vibration. Yeah? Is that you? Is that you to have an energy of optimism and a willingness to be non-judgmental? I'll tell you in all the visioning sessions that I have done, all the work that I've done with individuals and groups, the one thing that we all say that we need to release is our judgmental nature. Have the willingness to release your judgment. And then if you really want to pursue one individual who lives and vibrates at the energy of pure love and a reverence for all life will counterbalance the negativity of 750 individuals. Some of us may, oh, sorry, 750,000. Thank you. 750,000 individuals. How about that? Isn't that magnificent? That's the good news. That's the good news. You are limited possibility. You are limited potentiality. And the power of your intentions are boundless. What you do, what you want, is important. So, what are you going to do with this superpower that you have? What are you going to do with this superpower? What change do you want to create for yourself, for your community, for the world? Because again, you have the spiritual tools for personal and global transformation. Now, Bobby read that official statement from the Centers for Spiritual Living that they released last week. And the very last statement was when we apply our proven spiritual principles through rigorous practice and compassionate action, the desired results cannot fail to demonstrate. Know this with me. And stay tuned. Stick with me. Next week, we're going to talk about the mindfulness in speech, and mindfulness in action is the following week. And here's an affirmation that you can hold on to all week long. My mind is powerful. I use it wisely. Your mind is powerful. Use it wisely. Thank you. Namaste. And so now we're back to Emily for another beautiful song. Thanks.
Wow. My mind is completely blown. That's so crazy that one, yeah, one can outweigh 750,000. That's really great news. And I haven't heard good news in a while, so that's really good news. So yeah, our minds are instruments, and you could also think of your mind as a house that you live in. And I wrote this song called Once We've Built This House, and it was during a time in my life where I lost someone very close to me, and I felt as though my floor was being ripped out from underneath me. My walls were being crumbled down, the windows, everything. And I had to build myself back up. And so I'm relating that to today's message, because if our minds are our houses that we live in, and maybe we once lived in a house that was full of fear and shame and guilt and hatred and all of that, which is like the 87% of people, which is nuts. But let's just say we want to build ourselves a new house, and be part of that 13% of people who choose to be optimistic. So yeah, this one's called Once We Built This House. I hope you enjoy, and thank you very much for having me today, and thank you for listening. And that was a really great message from Theresa again. All right. Here it is, as I knew it would be. Here you are, as I saw you in a dream. These walls that are shaking gave me my whole life. This floor has been moving beyond me, out of sight. And once we've built this house, we will never look back. And once we've climbed our reach, we will look to the sky and give our whole lives to what once was nothing. Give our whole lives to what once was nothing. Castles are made just to only fall at our feet. These rooms, they are changing, and I am not as complete. You were the one who would crawl to me on your knees. And she was the one who I always thought I'd see. Once we've built this house, we will never look back. And once we've climbed our reach, we will look to the sky and give our whole lives to what once was nothing. Give our whole lives to what once was nothing. Hope, give me hope, give me hope. It will hold. Hope, give me hope, give me hope. It will hold. Once we've built this house, we will never look back. Once we've climbed our reach, we will look to the sky and give our whole lives to what once was nothing. We'll give our whole lives to what once was nothing. I love you. Thank you for listening.
Oh, I love you too. Hmm. Oh, Emily, beautiful. That was just a perfect song. Give our whole lives. We are building something. We're building something in this spiritual community, but we're building something in the world, something that truly is magnificent, and we're building it from within our own selves. And that is the power within us, and the power around us, and that is the power of intention. So, as we move into our time of giving, I want to remind you to be mindful of where you where you spend your money. Be mindful of the why of your financial giving. Evan is now going to post in Facebook the 4 ways that you can contribute to this ministry. And if you're watching us on YouTube, at the description, just click more, and there's all the ways are posted there. As well, they're posted on Facebook that way. Um, and I appreciate your support of this ministry. We believe in tithing, the principle of tithing, of giving of your good, a portion of your good to where you see spirit working in the world. And as a community, we do that. As an organization, we do that. And I do it personally. And I think it's a beautiful practice for us to participate in. Wherever you see the divine presence uplifting and supporting and inspiring, especially right now, give and support that, because that is what's raising the vibration for all of us. It's it's the creation of a healthy humanity, right? So that we truly are creating a world that works for everyone. And so again, I thank you, and I'll also say that if this morning inspired you and uplifted you, as was my intention, please share this link. And I say that from the deepest part of my being, in not an egotistical way, but in a way that says this is an important message for people to hear right now when they're feeling fatigued and worried and frightened, and we know that that is a creative energy, and we don't want to create from that place. So help spread this message. Help us spread this message in that way, please. Um, and so Evan has also hopefully posted by now the 4 ways of giving, but also the affirmation that we've been using from Ernest Holmes on abundance. And we want to recognize this endless, ceaseless flow is everywhere present, and not only just in our own personal lives, but for people all over the world. And so read this at home with us and put that intention into your words in that way. Good and more good is mine.
An ever increasing good is mine.
There is no limit to the good which is mine.
Everywhere I go, I see this good, I feel it, I experience it,
It crowds itself against me, flows through me, and expresses itself in me, and
and
multiplies
multiplies
itself
itself around
around
me.
me.
I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Ooh, that feels so good. That feels so good. I just want to have a few quick reminders that there's lots of ways that you can stay connected during the week with us. Um, this morning, after just a little bit after 12, I'll be posting in just a moment the link to come on to a Zoom room with us, and we'll have conversation, maybe an hour, maybe not quite that long. We'll see how the conversation goes, but grab yourself another cup of coffee and join in with that. And then also on Tuesday evenings, I lead a prayer circle on Zoom. And then on Thursday evenings, Julie Birch leads a meditation group. And the information for that, the links for that are sent out on Tuesday mornings. So you want to be on our email list. Go to cslculturalcoast.org and scroll down and sign up for the newsletter if you're not already receiving that information. And we look forward to connecting with you, to continue to connect with you. Just one more plug for the survey. As of yesterday afternoon, I had 40 people that have filled out the survey, and I'm really interested to hear your opinion on when you think it's time for us to resume in person meetings. And I will report to you on what the consensus is. Have a board meeting tomorrow, and so I'll be reporting to the board where we are now. And again, Bobby and I have been in prayerful visioning weekly around this topic. So stay tuned for that. And I think that that's it. I'm going to head out. I love you, and I thank you for being here. And please, again, please share this message. If it was meaningful for you, please share it with your friends. And I love you, and you can close us out.
And if you would like prayer support, prayer at whoops, prayer at csl.org. No, cslculturalcoast.org. Prayer at cslculturalcoast.org. And so let's close with the peace. No, not the peace song. Let it shine. There's a light at the center of everyone. It can light up the world just like the sun. There's a flame within us that can light our way. It can burn away the darkness of a troubled day. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Whenever you see darkness, you've got to know that the light is within you. Everywhere you go, whatever you are facing, whatever's on your mind, you can help illuminate it. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine. Let it shine, let it shine. Let your light shine.